Alright guys, well, here we are. I'm Douglas Kearns for the Browns Ferry team. I'll be discussing lasting and immediate impacts myself, but first I have a few things to go through and show you, okay? First, let's get our objectives out of the way. My responsibilities for the team. So one of the things I'm going to cover an overview of the accident and what the other guys have already discussed with you, because I am your final presenter. Disadvantages and impacts, and of course I'll leave you with a few, little bit of food for thought, right, a conclusion for you. Browns Ferry Nuclear Plant, here we go. You may notice it's actually a really nice area. A lot of the nuclear plants are in really nice areas, very pretty places to live if you haven't worked in nuclear yet. You'll notice there's no cooling tower. There's a switch yard. Contrary to popular belief, not all of them have cooling towers. Anyway, you have your turbine building and a stack. Okay, so Phil Joe talked to me about my responsibilities and commitments to the team. That's the way I like to look at it, because these guys have been great and just trying to keep up, really. So I wrote the problem statement. And by the way, Tim Brown, you were right. I should have included the responsibilities on that for the individuals. I kind of locked myself into some requirements that I didn't need to meet. So there you go, publicly admitting it. There we go. I've been helping facilitate, poking, prodding the guys, saying, hey, what's going on next? And I teamed up with Thompson to provide our last argument for our project, and then we're kind of combining our ideas, moving forward from there. Yeah, Mr. Brockman, Michael Brockman, he decided to cover mindset, attitude, and training. Okay, so you've already seen that one. That should have been the first video you saw. Kind of gave you a flavor for where they were at, what they were dealing with, and how they're progressing from there. Okay, Matt Portillo, he covered mistakes. Okay, should have been right after Michael, and this is what I thought about that. This just about covers it, I think. Okay, Thompson's taking care of the advantages of the immediate impacts and of the lasting impacts from the accident. I'll be covering the disadvantages. And I'll tell you, when you have an accident like this for the community, for the industry, for everybody, people start to, they make nuclear monsters. Okay, so this is kind of my depiction of that right here. This is one I saw one time. And then, of course, you get your cynics. And if every house had one of these dudes, we'd get rid of nuclear impossible. We wouldn't have to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to be covering the disadvantages. First I'll cover the immediate, then I'll cover the lasting, and this is just me explaining my methodology, how I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, hey, this is what was done by the regulators, and then the negative impact on the industry and personnel. First we had NRC Bulletin 7504. Said, hey, review your procedures, review your penetration design, and ignition sources. Okay, so we said that in that penetration, you're already familiar with what happened, so in that penetration we said, okay, it's not flammable. Some of the guys are like, some things were brought up. These guys said, I wanted to tell everybody else after this accident, said, hey, look at these things, look at them with a hard eye, and make sure that we're doing the right thing here. And by the way, that bulletin had to be out within 4 days, so it's pretty quick. New Reg 50, you got more systems, more people. Hey guys, you need more systems for fire suppression. You need more people to take care of it. You need to train them better, and you need to get physical separation for your components. Now this is a big deal. I want you to remember this later. This is a really big deal for plants that were in mid-process of building. Okay. More rigorous regulatory requirements. Then you had branch technical position 9.5-1. Okay, it said, hey, fire breaks. So these fire breaks are going to be, it's going to be something that when the fire hits that wall or door barrier of some sort, and it should take X number of hours before it starts to impact things on the other side. Provide separation, redundancy, defense in depth for components and systems, like automatic suppression systems. This also changed the training, not just for the operators, but also for the regulators. There's just a few things that, all these different things are things that happen and aren't necessarily bad, but it does put the industry in a disadvantage because, if I can get the PowerPoint to work here, just to name a few, more work for everybody, more expensive, construction complications. Now, construction complications, let me explain. The thing with the construction is you already had areas built, right? So then when you put switchgear 1 here, switchgear 2 here, and then you planned on having a travel path through here, but then this accident happens, and they say, whoa, whoa, whoa. We gotta make sure those doors are shut, we gotta have all these requirements, we gotta make sure that we provide this alternate power supplies for everything. So that now, you have to have special requirements in between these two, so you can protect them, one for safe shutdown, and also, and that's really the primary concern, is for safe shutdown. Because, when you have 1,600 cables that are affected, 600 and some of them are for the safety of the plant, that's a really big deal, right? And this is kind of what this looks like. Okay, next, we had some more regulations. 10 CFR 50.48 and Appendix R. Appendix R talks about smart fires and, hey, if this component caught on fire, it would obviously short out and go to the position you don't want it in. So if that's a position that's going to impact safety, we have to make sure it's de-energized so that it will not go to change position. And it's required within your license agreement. They did give you the alternate fire protection rule, which is actually kind of helpful, but it is some more regulations we had to comply with, and more regulatory requirements. That was NFPA 805. I kind of clicked through that pretty quick. And then New Reg 1552, and NEI came out with their own document 0402. Excuse me, got a little bit of cold. Now, the disadvantages of these things, it's poor publicity and public relations. If you know what the industry's at right now, you know that we're trying to get the Clean Energy Standard approved, especially here in New York recently. I went and publicly spoke myself because it's immediately, directly impacts me. And it impacts you guys as well, especially if you intend on working in this industry. Even if you don't, your light bill will probably get more expensive. Little support for legislation outside nuclear community. That's a problem because for us to be financially viable going forward, we really do need some subsidy. New generation of nuclear is becoming aware that they're in jeopardy, and fewer well-paying jobs for professionals. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about rural areas. Okay, areas where the median income is $40,000, and these guys will make well over $100,000 for the majority of the jobs, and if not, they get real close. Okay, another one is the rise in cost for the plants. Okay, now I got a few estimations here. Industrial Firework Handbook 4 at $500 million for the Browns Ferry fire. Industrial Handbook 5, 227. Now, these different estimations are taking into account different things. Some of them are taking into account downtime for the unit not making money. Some of them are taking into account physical property loss, paying their people, kind of hit and miss there. But there's a few estimates. Tech Report 7722 is probably the best. I like that because it's right in the middle. I think it's probably the best one to go with. It's still an incredible cost to use a candle to check penetrations and to not put water on the fire. So that's why we needed the training, get smarter, know that when we can, yes, we can put water on electrical fires, but you have to do it properly. Conclusion, well, a candle could cost you about $400 million. And the candle maker looks like this. Okay, and the next thing I want to leave you guys with, a little bit of a serious note here. You must become engaged thinking organizations. Okay, it's SRER 10-2 if you guys want to look it up on Google or something. But if you're not thinking about what you're doing, what the impacts are, what the contingencies should be before you do something, and thinking about the plant, not just thinking about your procedures, your human performance tools, there's all things you have to contend with as well, but you have to be thinking all the time. And then, of course, operator fundamentals, something we've been using. Info came up with it a while back, and we've been really pushing it hard, and it's to make the operators really think about teamwork, monitoring, conservative bias, precise control, and knowledge. Now, teamwork not necessarily, hey guys, let's have a good time. Teamwork can be, hey, you're doing that wrong, you need to break that habit, get better behaviors moving forward. Monitoring, closely watching your plant all the time, don't take your eyes off of it. Conservative bias, making the right decision in the right places. Conservative bias would not be using a candle to check penetrations. Precise control. Knowledge played a big part in this one. Even the off-site firefighters said, hey, you can put water on there. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, thankfully, we're after all this, we're getting, we got some excellent training in our firefighting systems and firefighters themselves, the operators or on-site fire department, depending on the site, they've gotten tremendously better. So still have to internalize these ideas going forward. Make sure things like this don't happen again. The public, it's hard to sell, hey, nuclear power is great, we have some great jobs, we're going to provide you with reliable electricity, base loading power, but all they see is the price, right? The price of Fukushima, Chernobyl, TMI, Browns Ferry, Davis-Besse, there's a laundry list of them, and we need to internalize these ideas to prevent those events from happening so that the public does not have this poor opinion of us, because we really are, really is a great industry. Okay. Now, that was really all I had. I hope it was long enough, and you guys take care.